A townwide reassessment project will begin in Walton June 17th.
My name is Koszarek. I'm an appraiser with KLW Appraisal Group. I thank you very much for having us here and entrusting us with the responsibility to work with Penny, the assessor, on the upcoming reassessment project. I wanted to just come here at the town board to introduce myself, let you know our schedule, what we're looking to do, when to start, and how things will progress, and answer any questions you may have. So initially, we're planning to start actually a week from today, Monday. And by start, I mean our appraisers and data reviewers will be here in Walton looking at properties from the public right away. So that will start on Monday. We've already started setting up preliminary steps to get a data mailer ready, which will be going out hopefully tomorrow or Wednesday.
Yes.
Soon. The county's assisting us with that process, so right now it's the ball, I guess, is in their court, you could say. But they're working on it, and our data mailer will be going out. I know last Thursday there was a public service announcement in the local paper announcing that we're going to be doing this project, and that our first public information meetings, which we invite public to come and meet with us, and we'll have a presentation on a reassessment project, what we do, what to expect, and how it progresses forward. We'll be doing 3 of those meetings next week. The first one will be Tuesday the 18th at 1 p.m. and then Tuesday the 18th at 6 p.m. Both of those meetings will be at the fire hall. And then on Saturday the 22nd at 10 a.m. we'll be doing a public information right here in Town Hall. What we're going to be telling the property owners is that the process of we'll have people in the field driving, looking at all the properties in the town and village, updating photographs, making sure that the information that we have on file on all the properties is reasonably accurate and as most up to date as we can have it. That's a month and a half, 2-month process. We'll have people here in town driving through the town. From there, we work on doing sales analysis and developing valuation tables, coming up with new assessed values. And then in the fall, we'll be back here again, and we'll have people again driving around town, field reviewing the properties, looking at them a second time to make sure that the value seems appropriate for the property. Fast forward to March of 2025 is when property owners will receive their assessment disclosure notice. That'll let them know the change of their assessed value from the current year.
What was that date?
I'm sorry?
What was that date?
It'll be March in 25.
March or 25.
By law, we have to mail this assessment disclosure notice by taxable status date, which is March 1st of 2025 for this project. At that point, we'll have a cover letter and information if property owners want to meet with one of our representatives to schedule an appointment to meet with us to understand how the assessment was developed and how, what sales we used and how we got to where we got to. So we'll be holding those informational meetings next spring during the month of March. That's kind of my spiel.
Okay.
Anybody got questions? Just for the recording that will be broadcast on our could you just give the board and the viewing audience, when they view the website, what's the primary reason of doing this reval?
The primary reason that we're doing this reassessment is the last one was done, I think, in 2016. 17.
New numbers came out in 17.
The assessed values came out in 2017. That's 7 years. It'll be 8 years when the new numbers come out. Real estate markets change constantly, and over the last 7-8 years, property values have changed somewhat dramatically. If you look at historical trends, so the city's equalization rate was 100%, meaning that your assessed value should reasonably reflect market value back in 2017. Over that time, the equalization rate has dropped meaning that property values have been increasing. As the equalization rate drops, it's about how much the value is increasing. Now, that may or may not apply to every property. So in order to make sure that that appreciation rate or that change in value is appropriate for every property in the town, we do a reassessment property to bring every reassessment project to bring everybody back up to full market value. So we'll go back to 100% equalization, which means that your assessment should reasonably reflect your market value of your property.
In kind of layman's term, it's, the way I understand it is to make your values equal
Yes.
across the board.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you could have, if you were going back historically, there was a period of time where, especially early mid-70s, early 80s, ranch homes became increasingly popular because of an aging population. So the demand for ranch housing, ranch style houses increased because as people got older, they didn't want to deal with stairs, whatever reasons, health conditions, or just because they don't want to walk up the stairs anymore, right? So there became a higher demand for ranch style houses, and ranch style houses appreciated faster than colonial style houses. So that's just one little example of how markets don't necessarily appreciate at the same rate. It could be certain neighborhoods, if you have like multiple school districts within a municipality. If one school district is supremely popular and other ones are not, there's a huge demand for people to move into that school district. It's the law of economics, supply and demand. You have more demand for those properties, the value of those properties are going to go up. Well, if they go up much higher or faster than properties in other neighborhoods, that you want to adjust everybody so everybody gets to their fair market value. So some properties may go up at a higher percentage because they were under greater demand, like a better school district, where other properties might not go up as much. So what ends up happening is over time, inequity creeps into an assessment role where people are not paying, what you would say, their fair share. Some are paying more than they should and some are paying less than they should. So to do a reassessment is to level the playing field, bring everybody back to their fair market value to make sure that the assessment is fair and equitable and everybody pays their fair share and not more.
Yeah, perfect.
And the reverse is true too. If a house is not worth as much, then it would come down
Correct.
and stuff. So I mean, it isn't just to raise the values.
Correct.
That's what I'm,
Historically,
location.
right, but also, since over 7 years, the condition of a property could change
That's what I'm
significantly.
saying.
In both ways, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But if a property is not maintained or there's an event that causes damage to that property, and that's not picked up through permitting process or that, and the assessor doesn't know and doesn't make an adjustment, well, that property now, that their value might, or more likely will go down.
Right.
So it's not just, property values don't just automatically go up. And just because a reassessment is done, doesn't mean that your taxes go up.
Right.
Because as the value of a municipality changes, whether the taxable value increases or decreases, the tax rate will also adjust accordingly. So if an entire municipality doubles in value, everything doubles in value, the tax rate, if the budget is the same, will be cut in half. And then everybody will pay exactly the same. Nothing changes as far as your tax liability. But as properties change and fluctuations, and properties that were in very poor condition 7 years ago may have been remodeled completely and now are something entirely different. And the converse is true. Nothing's been done, and the roof falls in, and now you
Is
have,
there a fire or something?
there's a fire,
It's
any type
not
of
fun.
event, or just through deterioration, sometimes these things happen, so.
Yeah. Is the rule of thumb a third, and a third still apply, or is that market the way you've?
Typically, what you're referencing is over time, there's been analysis done by the Office of Real Property Services, and that through a reassessment project, it's most often likely that a third of the property owners may pay more in property tax than they did previously. A third will stay about the same, and a third may go down. So that's, statistically, that still kind of applies.
will your guys be talking to the homeowners, or they basically are hands-off looking and stuff, but you want them to know that that might be who it is?
We're not, our vehicles will have identification on them. They'll have polos that say KLW Appraisal Group, badges that identify who they are. But we're looking at the properties from the public right away, so we're not entering property. But obviously, if a homeowner comes up and asks questions,
Right.
they'll answer whatever questions they have, but we're not going.
You're not going to seek them out, it's not an interview.
We're not going to go door to door, knock on a door, ask for permission to measure anything or anything like that.
That's what I thought, but I just figured I would clarify that, thank you.
Is there a method for dispute if someone disagrees with their assessment?
There's a method every year, actually. But for this particular project, because we'll be holding informal meetings, that's also the format where homeowners can say, you know what, I think you're wrong. Here's why, and it very well may be true. We may look at the house and it happens all the time. On the outside, it looks like it's in fair, average condition. The siding's been updated, there's newer windows, the roof isn't that old, the lawn is taken care of, everything looks neat and orderly, and we figure the property's in average condition. Well, because we're not getting inside, we also assume that the interior of the property is probably in like condition, but that's not always the case. So that's the opportunity for homeowners to come and not only understand how we got to where we got to, but to also say, hey, I think you're off because, we got a wallpaper in our living room, it was put up in 1922, right? And half of it's falling down. So, look at the kitchen, and the kitchen is original to when the house was built in 1922. So those are things that we don't know from just looking at the outside. So that's an important component of a reassessment project, is getting, feedback from property owners, right? When I say there's a method for, contesting your assessment every year there's a formal grievance period. It's tentative roll gets filed on May 1st, and then is the grievance here the fourth Tuesday?
No, it's the Wednesday after the fourth Tuesday.
Okay, so a vast majority of municipalities in New York State, their formal grievance day is the fourth Tuesday in May. Here it's the day after. So it's,
But your meetings are probably gonna be in March, you said.
our meetings will be in March, and those are
They can
informal
talk to
meetings.
you actually about.
They'll talk to me or one of our representatives, and that's an opportunity that until the tentative roll is filed, we can discuss with Penny any issues that there may be and make adjustments accordingly. We'll come, once May 1st happens and the tentative roll is filed, the only one that can make changes is the Board of Assessment Review, which is the entity that hears formal grievance on grievance day.
But there's plenty of scheduled interaction with KLW and any property owner
Yes.
that wants to
Yeah.
at least
And
meet
we'll-
with you.
And we will make every effort to make sure
Right.
that there's certain timeframes, that it happens all the time where, the last day that we do our meetings, somebody calls and wants to schedule an appointment, but we stop taking appointments a week and a half earlier, right? So we put in, call to schedule an appointment up until this day, and to try and get everybody to do that, because after we meet with the property owner, whether we think there's a change that needs to be made or not, we have data entry tasks that we have to do for administrative purposes. So we need time to, once we complete the informal review process, to be able to do all that data entry or task or make any changes before the file goes to the county to have the roll filed. So there's timing issues, but we try to accommodate people as best we can. We are planning to meet with people in person, and we also will do like Zoom type conference call meetings. So if people are out of town and can't get back to meet with us personally, we can schedule a remote meeting.
Anything else? Any other questions? All right.
All right, thank you very much for
Thank
having me.
you.
Thank you for coming out from Buffalo.
Oh, no problem. We look forward to working in the town.
Yes,
Nice to meet you.
appreciate it.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To subscribe or advertise, call 607-464-4009.